We begin tonight with demands that the United Nations organize a referendum on self-determination for some groups in Nigeria. The Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination say they will no longer obey the constitution. The group has declared a sovereignty dispute with the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. They'll be holding a 30-day consultation with elected officials in the Middle Belt, Southwest, Southeast, and South-South of Nigeria.
Exhausted every democratic, people-driven process in seeking an orderly redress for their aforementioned grave constitutional grievances emanating from the unilateral imposition of a unitary constitutional order on our supposed federal union by a section of Nigeria that has also imposed Sharia in their own part of our supposed secular union. And now, in circumstances that have become an extraordinary emergency for our people, being confronted by the clear and present danger of extermination in the hands of our supposed compatriots in Nigeria, who are pursuing an ethnic cleansing against the indigenous nationalities of Nigeria, hereby declare a sovereignty dispute with the Federation of Nigeria as represented by the federal government of Nigeria on account of our repudiation and rejection of the imposed 1999 Constitution, whose authorship was fraudulently imputed to us by the preamble. No formal contact was made with NINAS by the federal government of Nigeria. And so we are gathered here today, March 17, 2021, at 5 p.m. to inform our people in all our 3 regions, as well as the international community, what our next steps will be in our resolve to extricate ourselves from the death trap and bondage unitary Nigeria has become to our various people.
For a closer look at this, we're joined by Professor Jibrin Ibrahim, a political scientist and senior fellow at Nigeria's Center for Democracy and Development. Prof, good evening and welcome to Newsnight. Well, Prof, let's start this way. This looks like an attempt to untwist the government into discussing the Nigerian Union with a view to get the much sought-after restructuring. Do you think this is the intention, or it's actually an attempt to seek the dissolution of the Union?
I'm not sure what it's about. I listened carefully to their keywords. The first keyword they use is indigenous people. Now, if you say this is a movement of indigenous people, you are using it in reference to those who are not indigenous. As far as I know, all the people of this country, all the ethnic nationalities in Nigeria are indigenous to Nigeria, and they've been here from the pre-colonial period. So the word indigenous does not distinguish one group of Nigerians from the other group of Nigerians. The second keyword they use is genocide, that some groups are being killed. What I know as an avid observer of the Nigerian political space is that there is growing insecurity all over the country, and members of all ethnic groups are being killed by combatants who have taken up arms and engaged in criminal activities all over. The third issue they raise is that of the Constitution. What we know in a constitutional democracy is even if you don't like the Constitution, you change the Constitution, you make proposals, you follow due process to get the Constitution you want. So that's not a question of sovereignty, because we are all citizens of Nigeria, and because this Constitution is a common document for all of us. Those of us who are not happy with the Constitution, and I'm not very happy with the Constitution myself, should work hard through recognized legal and constitutional means to change it to get the constitution we want.
Okay, well, they have said that they will consult with elected officials of, the different zones within the southern part of the country. And what seems to be at the heart of their grievances is the constitution. And of course, they are saying it's a skewed federalism. What then would be your, advice? What is the way forward, really? I mean, they're asking for a referendum, and the Nigerian constitution actually does not even make allowance for a referendum. So where do we go from here?
I'm one of those who believes the Nigerian constitution needs significant reform and rejuvenation. And all of us who think like that should come together and see what proposals we could make that are acceptable to the generality of Nigerians to improve this constitution so that it will be the document that we truly believe binds us together and on which principles we continue to operate as a sovereign nation. I think there are clear principles within the Constitution itself for how we can change it. I'm one of those who believes, however, that you may not get profound change that way. And my own thing is that we need to organize another national conference, or at least look at the last 3 national conferences that have made significant recommendations on how to improve the Constitution, and propose a clause in this Constitution for a referendum on the basis of which we can adopt a new Constitution that we make for ourselves.
Prof, I was just thinking about a conversation we had with Professor Wole Soyinka recently, and then another one with a few other people on this program and other programs on Arise News. And there is always this feeling that there is a need for discussing the union, whether we want to stay together as a nation in Nigeria or not. But then there's been information from government that it is not conversation for discussion at all. What are your thoughts?
I think every group of citizens have the right to engage in a discussion, in advocacy, in politics directed at a determined or non-union. That conversation is completely legitimate and no one can stop it. It's a conversation, however, that should be structured. Take Canada. The people of Quebec for 35 years contested the union they were in, said they rejected it, and after over 3 decades of contestation and 2 referenda, the conclusion was that they in our own case, what we are saying is, let's have that opportunity also. Let's debate, let's make propositions, let's introduce a clause that allows for a referendum.
What this group seems to be saying is we have had enough debates, we've had all kinds of conferences, and those seem not to have solved Nigeria's problem. And now they're saying we want a sovereignty dispute, and we're still wondering exactly what that means. They're approaching the UN to force the hand of Nigerian authorities to allow them to have self-determination. What do you think is giving rise to this? Is it a failure really of the Constitution or a failure of governance that has come home to roost?
What's happening in this country is that there has been significant rise of insecurity. People are no longer feeling secure in this country. And this is a fact all over the country. It's not just for a part of the country. And that's one of the disputes I have with this group. They are isolating on the one side the Northeast and Northwest. And they are saying, on the other hand, you have the 4 zones of indigenous Nigerians. And there's no basis in history or in fact to make that distinction. If it is the case, and my position is that it is, that we are all unhappy with the situation we find ourselves, there's poor governance, there's insecurity, we feel unsafe, then we need to look for a way out. And the way out can be at different levels. We can say we don't like this government and therefore organize to vote them out and bring in a better government.
Okay,
we
we'll
can
have to leave it there.
It's a question
thank
of
you
the rules
very much.
on which we are
Professor Jibrin Ibrahim is Senior Fellow, Center for Development, joining us tonight, Center for Democracy and Development.